In really large logistics companies, there is massive room for error. And everyone has to acknowledge that fact that when you're dealing in anything that has bulk inputs that is required, there is going to be room for error. So the questions we all have to ask is, how can I mitigate that? How can I reduce the risk of error coming into my payroll, which is a really, really important function of my business? So, um, what I've obviously seen is that companies have looked at ways of how do we streamline that. They've built certain things like in Excel and seen how we can actually improve that. But the best thing is your recruitment and your onboarding tools that allow you to do bulk inputs and bulk employee loading at a particular depot site, where you could also put in certain rules to make certain that you're not putting garbage information into the system, especially when it comes to people's IDs, addresses, the format in which addresses are required, because SaaS does require your address to be in a certain format. So you have your onboarding tools, make sure that the addresses are put in that particular format. But again, having those systems, it's not just once you hit save, it's in the Sage 300 People application. There's still a workflow process that this would go through where various stakeholders needs to approve that particular information. So what's quite critical in logistics is that your drivers have driver's licenses. So you could have copies of driver's license be a requirement within an onboarding process as well, that document is then put into Sage 300 People, and you could build certain notifications within Sage 300 People as well to make certain that if a driver's license is about to expire within 6 months, that the system sends a notification to the manager, to the employee, that their driver's license is going to expire, and this is potentially a risk to our organization if it is not addressed immediately. So having these systems speak to each other, that we're not just using payroll as a tool to pay somebody, but we're using it as so much more to manage a large cost, to dissect a large cost, to make certain that your information is well protected and easily accessible for both employee as well as the organization, and also to have certain notifications that are critical to our business, not being penalized in any way because we have drivers that licenses have expired, or maybe they needed a PDP and that has expired, that we have all of these things in place. So if we are audited from any institution, we can provide the necessary information that is required for that particular audit.